fetters off
Right.
for those moments, and then come back and regroup.
And always you start tuning, and the band plays a long chord, either the keyboard or the bass or so.
How am I going to get back to Brooklyn? We don't know. Are you going there now? Are you driving the van there?
No.
You're not?
Can you take a cab?
I guess so. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know who's here.
Jesse's? No?
Is she around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Toby's?
Okay. If they're, please have them not leave without me.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, this was a discussion how to get to Brooklyn. Okay, you every time you tune your guitar, does it mean that every song has a different tuning?
Not that every song has a different tune.
Or does it get it out of tune?
Of course, it gets quite out of tune because sometimes we're being pretty aggressive with the instrument. But there are different tunings that we use. For example, I play 4 different instruments, and one of the reasons that there are 4 is that because...
You mean 4 guitars?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one is a saz guitar, one is a microtonal, like a...
Yes.
It's a guitar that has sort of Dastgah tuning.
Yes. Oh, really?
It's not really Dastgah, it's more of a Greek system.
Yes.
But it's related to Dastgah Shur.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has Shur and Abu Ata, sort of.
Uh-huh.
And Mahur, sort of. So with those 3, meaning if you modulate, you can access at least the first 3 steps of Dastgah Shur, first 3 steps of Dastgah Abu Ata, and the first 3 steps of Dastgah Mahur.
Oh, interesting.
Sort of. Not really. It's
Yes.
not really. So that instrument has its own demands and its own requirements, and I tune it differently for different songs. So the answer is yes. We're tuning a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you rehearse a lot with your band?
I'm
asking because I'm having a band and always promise to rehearse. But your music must be really rehearsed.
So on this tour, to tell the truth, we were scheduled to rehearse here in New York for 2 days before, and then Hurricane Irene hit, so our flights from the west coast to the east coast were canceled, and actually Chess was the only person here on the east coast. So the group of people who were in...
So I rehearsed.
Yeah, he rehearsed by himself. And the people who were in Seattle drove. They got a car. They rented a car immediately.
Whenever you're ready, we're going to all leave together to go to that neighborhood.
Okay, great. And they drove to Chicago, picked up a van. This is just so you know. I'm giving you the real story here. Picked up a van, no sleep, because we only had a few days before we had to be in Hamilton, Ontario.
Yes.
So they drove to Chicago, picked up a van, drove to Connecticut, picked up a trailer, drove from Connecticut to New York City, picked up all of our equipment, and picked up the guys from Fat 32, the opening band, and the airport lost their equipment.
I heard about it.
We had to wait for 8 hours and finally got their stuff. And still nobody sleep.
Oh.
And then they drove to Hamilton, Ontario, and they met us, the guitar player, myself, and the keyboard player, who I just met when I picked him up. Drove across the country with him. He was new, so we were talking through the parts on the way. We arrive in Hamilton, Ontario 52 hours later with no sleep, and we all meet at the venue. The band meets the new keyboard player 3 hours before we're on stage playing.
Right.
And the drummer, Chess, had never played like 5 of the songs or new songs. We had never rehearsed them as a band, and the keyboard player, of course, had never rehearsed with the band ever, and we played a show. Correct. So that's answering the question, do we rehearse? I almost want to laugh, you know.
Good, my last question, almost last. How long will you do this?
You mean as a musician?
Yes.
It's I suppose I probably would feel like I was accepting death if I accepted a time limit on doing it. So long as I don't accept death just yet, of course I will die. So when I die is the day I stop doing it.
Are you Muslim?
I'm not Muslim, I'm Eastern Orthodox Christian. Yeah.
And would you love to play in Iran this kind of
Of
music?
course. I have some friends actually from Indonesia, Indonesian Muslims, who flew to Iran just before the Green Revolution, and they were scheduled to play on Irib, you know, and the government shut it down, but they ended up meeting with Ahmadinejad himself,
Really?
who said, "We're sorry, you know, we should have let you play because they are Muslim." And anyway, we're in contact with this band, and I think that's maybe the only possibility for the near future. We did talk to Hermes Records for a short time.
Hermes?
Yeah,
It's my friend, Rami.
and I love this label and these people, and but it was just before the chaos, you know.
Oh,
So maybe we start talking again when things get easier.
okay.
Of course, it's my dream to play in Iran. We've played now in Turkey. We played Israel. We need to go to Iran. It's really important. I mean, it's the heart and home of my discovery of harmony, of what harmony means, of what harmonic systems are. So to me, at the very least, we have to try.
And my real last question is regarding 9/11. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, New York was really intention. Bloomberg even said there's maybe a terror attack happening.
Yeah, we
So,
were here actually.
how do you feel about 9/11, the situation, how Americans still think, maybe it's difficult to say for all Americans, but this attitude towards Muslims, Islam, and so
I should tell you, I was married to an Iranian woman at the time that September 11th took place, and my record, Book M, for Secret Chiefs, which has Persian and Arabic writing on the back, came out on September 11th, 2001. Came out on the day. So I felt actually, for sure, I'm going to get in trouble. Like, you know, this is too weird, and nothing ever happened. But I'm very intimately involved in a way in this question, and seeing it from the different perspectives. I think now I have there are things that I'm impressed by the way some Americans have dealt with their issues about this. Some people have done pretty well. I'm sorry to say that it's not enough, and I wish it was better. You know, I wish it was better. I think that relations between Muslims in America is actually better than relations between Muslims in Europe, and Europe, like, you know, native European population. I guess that's something. I guess that's kind of good. But overall, it's a little bit frustrating to see the way it's, especially in Europe, it's frustrating for me to see how it is.
but for me most frustrating is that still after 10 years, normal Americans don't know why it happened. I feel very sorry for the victims who died, and so yes, but I'm really surprised that on Friday and Saturday, Sunday, nobody really said the reason why it happened. It wasn't just there were
Some evil people flying out from outer
had
space.
it had a reason, and the reason's very simple. And still in America, they don't want to say even that Bin Laden was produced by the CIA.
Yeah, I know. It's incredible.
Yes,
This is
so-
incredible. And also, I mean, it maybe people's eyes glaze over because history is complicated, but I think Americans need to understand what happened with Mossadegh, and that the CIA overthrew Mossadegh, and they need to understand that the period after that, when the United States took what was before this was British, you know, petroleum interest, and then America took this, and in both cases, under British and under Americans, you know, Iran was getting screwed worse actually by the
Right.
British, but it's still not good enough under the Americans. They need to understand why the Iranian Revolution happened. You know, I think Americans still don't understand the Iranian Revolution at all, and that's got nothing to do with this Bin Laden nonsense. But it's really important that this, because anyone can understand it if they have, you know, 50 pages of explanation about it. But this information just doesn't get out, you know. And to me, then that once you see that, and then you see what happens with the revolution and how that ended up turning around, and now it's a very hard situation for everyone. To me, that's not so hard to understand, you know. But the information just needs to get out.
Really, now my last question. If Obama says, Trey, we need you, come with me, we go to Tehran, and when I talk with Ahmadinejad, you play your electric guitar, tar, and bring us together, would you go with Obama?
That is a hard question, man. That is hard. I mean, I would do anything that I thought would help that situation, yes.
But they say music can heal, can help. So.
It maybe it can. I'm also very cautious about the idea of the one world coming together. So I'm not sure what role I want to play in that. So I would have to think very hard about it. But for the spirit of what you're saying, of course, anything that I could do to help the situation, I would do anything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.